even talking to strangers helps us. Say hi to the neighbor. Say hi to the person walking their dog that you don't know. Say hi to the barista. The little things, and we talked about some of these even again in our willpower episode, but it's some of these simple ways that really sharpen the synapses of the brain. So it is biochemical to power up our brain again, to do some of these things, to be in community, to interact.
Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries.
Hey friend, welcome back to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm Jenn Trepeck, your health and lifestyle coach and host. Always here with you every week for Wellness Without the Weirdness. And joining me today is Beth, a familiar voice for our longtime listeners.
Hello, good to be back.
Yes. And I'm excited you're here because, well, it's funny. We're recording in person. You walked in the door and you were like, what are we talking about? And I was like, funny, that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
So we're talking about clearing the brain fog, the brain energy. And here's what's the backstory on this. So since the beginning of this year, I have had this topic on my list. I even mentioned it when we talked about mineral balancing at the end of January. And then it kept getting pushed to forward in my list of things. And it was pushed forward for a couple reasons. One, there were some compelling topics and guests that I wanted to hit first. And the second was because I was experiencing in a mad way everything that we're going to talk about remedying. So
it's like research in advance.
Exactly. And what's funny is that I had 90% of all of this content already, but I was also in a place of I need to do what I know to do. And you know when you have those moments of the thing that's on your list that you just keep resisting? And that was this. It felt like if I had this conversation at that moment, it would not have been genuine, I think.
Yeah. It's also, the checklist is really, I think I was watching a reel yesterday with somebody doing a funny bit about it, but it is that thing that could take 5 minutes or an hour that you keep putting off. And then eventually you do it, and it's, the relief.
Well, and it was not as big of a deal as we made it in our heads.
It's such a big deal.
Yeah. And the other piece that I think sort of plays into all that, it's not just the to-do list, but it's also the overwhelm.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk more about kind of what was creating that for me. But I think a massive piece of brain fog is we don't even know that it's brain fog. I felt like I lost all of my productivity unless there was a deadline. I had a conversation with people. I was like, I can't figure out my time of day anymore. I'm not a morning person. I'm not a nighttime person anymore. It seems like I'm not an anytime person. I don't know how to find the time to concentrate.
Yeah, I get it. It feels like a habit you have to reform, concentration, and something you have to really work on getting a result with, because I just feel like my concentration is all over the place because there's too many things to pay attention to at once.
Right, exactly. So anyway, that's our conversation for today. Before we get too far into it, super quick, let's pause here. We can tell our members what they're getting. So friends, let's talk about the Happy Healthy Hub. Are you a member? You should be. And I don't like using the word should, but it fits here. So members, your recipe this week has brain-supporting nutrients and it's seasonal. So it's for kale and avocado salad with blueberries and edamame.
Interesting.
I know, but it's actually really good. And the dressing, by the way, is one of my favorites too. So I think you're going to love it. And in this episode, we're going to talk about some supplements that were super helpful. So I'm giving our members 10% off those supplements that we will talk about today. So if you want this recipe and 10% off my favorite supplements to help clear the brain fog, improve brain energy, be sure you're a member of the Happy Healthy Hub. You'll go to asaladwithaside-of-fries.com/membership for just $12 a month. Or, by the way, you can pay for a year at once and then you get it at $10 a month or 2 months free, however you want to look at it. But a bargain at $120 a year. You get weekly recipes, curated articles, discounts from me and our partners, expert interview episodes in full video, including some behind-the-scenes pieces, access to the community board where we can interact, ask and answer questions, and so much more. It really is the next best thing to working with me as your health coach. This is where you can get your personal questions answered. So if you're ready to level up your health, support this podcast so we can keep doing this with you every week, go to asaladwithaside-of-fries.com/membership. Or you can click the link in the episode notes because that's a lot easier. From there, you're going to click subscribe now, follow the prompts to enter your payment info, and create your login to access the hub and all of your benefits. Again, you'll go to asaladwithaside-of-fries.com/membership. And your recipe this week is for kale and avocado salad with blueberries and edamame. Plus, members are getting 10% off the supplements we're talking about today, the ones that have really helped me over the last couple months with this brain fog. All right. So I think we want to talk about also, to start, what contributes. So you mentioned the to-do list, and the to-do list is interesting because we've talked about this in our willpower episode. We also talked about it in our couple of our productivity episodes, where the to-do list is funny because it can help us on some level because it gets stuff out of our head and onto paper where there's less than floating around. The other piece is that it can sometimes create more overwhelm when we look at the list and then have to make a decision after a decision. Like, we keep reviewing the list and deciding what to do. We're contemplating doing all of them or none of them or whatever. So one of the things I've done with that to-do list is, instead of putting a list on paper, I put the task in my calendar at a time with a period of time. So even if I move it around, which I have very much been known to do. So even if I move it around, it's there.
It feels like an appointment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I don't have that look at the list, figure it out kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think I've done that often with myself. Like, I've done it 2 ways. I've emailed myself, like, when I'm done with work for the day, I
email myself a lot.
And I'm like, tomorrow, ... like these 3 things in the subjects. And then I also have put it on my calendar because I don't want to miss it on either or like, yes, not intentionally, but intentionally skip over it.
Yes. I email myself a lot. And it's funny, that piece, that tendency to do the email reminder or the calendar appointment, that is what we're experiencing of memory impairment. Yeah, right? So that is one of the telltale signs that we are in this place.
Yes.
When we can't figure out what to do first, another sign that we're in this place. When we sit down and it's difficult to focus, that's where I was, right? Lots of procrastination, like what you were saying. We sort of put this thing off all the time. Those are some of those big telltale signs, or what the experts would call observable behaviors of what we're experiencing. And essentially, a big piece of what we're experiencing is overwhelm. And that overwhelm is complicated by a number of factors, because it's not only the to-do list overwhelm. There's this emotional overwhelm and the constant input overwhelm. I mean, think about what has been happening in our world. It is wild. And I'll tell you guys, like, this is 100% what happened to me, right? So I started this year in January. I was like, I've got a plan, the things I want to do this year, right? Yep. January was a ton of travel. So then it was February. I'm like, okay, February's going to be the month we start the things. February, well, I got back from a trip at the end of January, and I have a letter in the mail from New York State that I am being audited for 2023 state taxes. So there went February.
Oh my God.
And I had a couple trips in February also. But so basically, February was all about this audit, right? Then I'm like, okay, March it is. March is going to be the thing. And about 12 days into March, some of you know about this because you and I have talked about it, Beth, and some of you listening may be aware of what happened. But so there was a terrorist attack in Michigan, in the suburbs of Detroit, and the temple that was attacked is my temple where I grew up. Yeah. That is very much a place that I, to this day, consider home. Mm-hmm. And I don't have words in this moment. All I can say is that emotional overwhelm is real.
Yeah.
And I don't wish this experience on anybody.
No, of course not.
I wrote an article about it. So part of what I did do in March was work on processing my emotions and having conversations about terrorism and anti-Semitism and all of the stuff that's going on in this world around us. So I wrote an article about it that I published on Medium. So I'll put a link to that in the episode notes for people who are willing to read more. In fact, my intention in writing it was actually that people who didn't even know anything happened would read it and understand, or at least know more of what's going on. But so anyway, that was my March. Very overwhelming. And then also, of course, had a couple trips in there. And then it was like, okay, April is going to be the month. And it's not. It's not the month. What it was the month of was getting back to being able to be productive. That's when, right, like all of these things started to come together. And I was like, okay, now we can have this conversation.
Yeah.
And so a lot of what we're talking about are the things that I've done through April to get to this place, and also through March too. But they're the tools that we want to keep in our back pocket all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So not everybody's months are as dramatic as that, yeah. Right? But if we're feeling scattered, if we're feeling overwhelmed, these are the things that we start to notice. And one of the other things, especially when it feels like there's so much going on, we can end up in that wired but tired. We're staying up late.
Yes.
Okay, so say more. Wired but tired. Take it away, Beth.
I have a lot to say, but in terms of wired but tired, that's the place where like you start to get the shakes and you start to get like mad at yourself because you're like, I should just be going to sleep. And you try to go to sleep and then you can't. Or so you put on a show, like maybe that will help me fall asleep. Now all of a sudden I'm watching some cheesy show about time travel I don't need to be watching.
And what show? Wait, I'm very interested.
Yeah, no, I just bought into it. Now it's 2 a.m. and I have to be up at 8. And I'm like, what are you doing to yourself? But I couldn't get there. I couldn't get to that sleep time place because my mind wouldn't stop. And I tried to distract myself, but then I wire it in a different way. So now I'm up on a new thing, but I'm tired.
Yes.
And I'm wired.
Well, and then the other thing that happens, right? So I had this too, and this happened to me years ago when I was working in hedge funds and doing the health stuff on the side. I went through a period where I was up till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning watching old reruns of Friday Night Lights. I had no business being up that, like, unnecessary, and certainly like reruns of a show that hasn't been on the air in years and years. But sometimes that's our coping. Like we're grasping at finding some semblance of like owning our own time or that relaxation or zoning out or feel good things to balance the chaos that's around us sometimes.
Yeah, it's like the chaos and the burnout. And like I was at the office last night. It was way too late. It was like 9:30 and I was like, I have to go home. Like I can't be productive. I can't do anymore. But then I went home and I felt like I didn't have any time to myself all day or any time to just relax. So where I should have been like, 2 hours away from bedtime, I'm like, I need some time for me today, which is not just to like have time for me, but to like do some errands in my house, put the dishes away, do laundry, like regular normative things that I just haven't had time for. And then you get frustrated and you're like, but I want a little extra time. So I think like the burnout factor that's involved in this too, it's like, it's one thing that compiles on top of the next thing. And then you're just kind of good for nothing.
And then I feel like too, I'm up late, waking up at the same time, I'm not generally a caffeine person, but became one in those months, which then exacerbates the wired but tired, I am exhausted, and yet I am wide awake at a time when I really would rather be sleeping. Yeah.
And, and I'm sorry for everything you went through. I think the emotional toll of things is not just feeling emotions, but the brain space it occupies, because whenever an unexpected event happens, that's stuff you weren't like counting on thinking about in your brain, and it comes out of left field, and now it's all your brain can think about. And yeah, sure, you had a list of like 10 other things to do, but your brain can't even think over there at that time. So, the unexpected moments in life, rationally and reasonably so, will distract us from getting things done. So I think if you're already in a place where you feel like you can't focus and then something gets added to it, now you're really...
And that too is what has happened a bit in April.
Yeah.
I'm just in a better place in this moment to handle it versus in March. But all of this is to say, this applies to all of us at any given time.
Yeah.
And the rest of what we're going to talk about applies to all of us. It's professionals in their careers. It's caregivers. So I have a speaking engagement for an organization that pairs a woman diagnosed with cancer with a survivor of hopefully that same kind of cancer.
Oh, wow.
And so part of this event is for the participants of this program and their caregivers. And caregiving, whether it's for kids, a significant other, a parent, it is a lot.
It's a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
Multitaskers. Hello, all of us. Right? I mean, even think about students. Kids graduating right now are walking out into a world. I mean, I remember when we graduated and it was such a weird time to be getting jobs. And then I remember the kids who graduated in the middle of the 2008 crash. There always seems to be something.
Oh, yeah. You can count on that. That's like a reliable thing. But I think, one of the things I've been thinking about lately, because this time of year is really stressful for my career. I have a very high stress career as it is, but this time of year is like an extra level, and I'm working more hours and the stress levels are double. And I feel like I have lost grounding factors in my life, meaning things that I do every day reliably, because I feel like I'm making game day decisions minute by minute about literally I know I need to eat, but I just have to deal with this client thing first. And then now it's 4 hours later and I have a headache and I haven't eaten, and I knew better.
Right. So the whole objective is that we're going to create calm energy.
Yeah.
Right? It's resilience. It's the mental energy that comes from lifestyle. We're going to bring in some mental health pieces, but we're also going to move beyond that, right? Again, it's calm, rest, and resilience. It's supporting our mental energy, our adaptability, our emotional balance is another piece of this, right? And it's so interesting because it doesn't mean, a lot of times we talk about emotional balance, people think of just sort of blunting, which, by the way, is a lot of what pharmaceuticals do. They sort of just blunt. And what's sad about that a little bit is that when we work from that suppression side, it also suppresses the joy and the happiness. And so we want to maintain some equanimity, but we also want to experience a range of emotions. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's symptoms versus solutions, treating the stuff just on the top versus the whole thing. And I think when it comes to behaviors and habits and all that, and what can I take to make this easier? But meanwhile, you lose the joy, you lose all the other things. And now you're looking for 5 other things to find fixes for. And there goes the cycle over and over and over again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we're going to think about in terms of some of this is to think of it as the science of resilience. So we're going to move from stimulants, right, like the caffeine, to focus on nutrients and adaptogens and things that really support us. Magnesium, B vitamins, like I said, adaptogens, adaptogenic herbs, some of these tools, again, it's this foundation of resilience that we're going to build.
Yes.
What do you think?
I would like that.
You're like, yes, please.
For the times, it's like, I think we celebrate the times when we're like, oh, I'm being so good. I'm doing this every day. I'm really like on a record here. And then crash burn, now you're in the old place and you can't even think to the good times because you're like, I can't believe I'm here. Like I was learning a language every morning. I was clearing my mind by doing like a 40-minute language session. And then I stopped that and I'm like, what happened to my language learning? So, then we just beat ourselves up. So
exactly. Yeah. All right. So no more beating ourselves up.
No.
We're going to focus on daily calm energy and resilience.
Great.
Okay. We're going to shift to that after we highlight our sponsor for this episode, BetterHelp. So what we've been talking about today is proof of something that I say all the time, which is true wellness isn't only about what's on your plate. There's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health. And if any one of those is off, we are not fully well. And burnout, overwhelm, that feeling of running on empty, that wired but tired we were talking about, it's not just a physical problem. It actually lives in all four of those, the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So we can do all the things that we talk about all the time, right? And everything we're talking about today, even for brain energy, and still hit a wall if the mental and emotional pieces aren't getting the attention they deserve. That's where therapy comes in, and BetterHelp makes it easier to start. You take a quick quiz, get matched with a licensed therapist, and communicate however works for you, whether that's phone, video, or text. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists at no extra cost. As a salad with a side of fries listener, you know that real wellness means taking care of all of it, not just the salad and not just the fries. Over 6 million people have gotten help with BetterHelp. With a 4.8 out of 5-star rating on the App Store, you know they're good at what they do. Go to betterhelp.com/sideoffries and get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/sideoffries. We'll also put a link in the episode notes for you so you can just click there. It's betterhelp.com/sideoffries. And remember, you get 10% off your first month. Okay, so this idea of daily calm energy and resilience, I approached this from sort of like a morning, midday, and an evening situation.
Yeah.
Okay. In the morning, we want to activate. Midday, we're going to adapt. And in the evening, we're going to restore. So what does that look like? Let's start with the morning. Activate. This might be movement.
Yeah.
This might be listening to your favorite song. It's certainly setting the foundation with some fundamental vitamins and minerals. Probiotics with mood support was tremendously helpful for me. Magnesium, activated B complex, like a high quality multivitamin that has some of these in there. Vitamin D3 with K2. My movement, starting my day with a meal that was protein and fiber, and then getting, my exercise in. Making sure that I had all of those pieces in place and the caffeine took care of itself. Mm-hmm. I didn't need it. I wasn't even looking for it anymore.
Yeah. So what you're saying is don't wake up and look at your emails and rage answer before you've gotten out of your bed. Like wake up earlier a little bit.
I mean, we're all human.
Yeah. I don't rage answer. I'm very polite.
Right.
In my head.
Well, it's funny. So sometimes I think this is still like my resistance from working full time. I mean, I've been working for myself for like 7 years now, but I still have this thing where I don't want to get out of bed when the alarm goes off.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily fall back asleep, but I don't get up. Yeah. And it's this thing you talked about, me time, right?
Yeah.
Admittedly, I am sometimes scrolling social media. There are a lot of experts who would not recommend. BetterHelp would not recommend, right? There's times where maybe that's when I'm listening to a podcast or listening to a book.
Yeah.
I certainly look at the emails, and some things that are easy to respond to, I will, but I'm just not there yet.
Yeah.
And I've figured out being okay, not rage responding or whatever. But whatever, and we have episodes on morning routine where it can help you sort of think through your own on-ramp for the day in that way. It was tremendously helpful.
Yeah, it's funny that we're talking about this because in the last 2 days, I downloaded some app about like just a few minutes a day to do some techniques about like your lymphatic system. And so I'm on like day 2. And like the first day was just deep breathing, which I could do while I was lying down. So it was when I woke up and I was like, all right, I'm already in the bed. So I can do this for 5 minutes. But with the idea, telling myself I need something to start my day with. And this is supposed to be help your system flow better. We'll see.
Exactly. So that morning, it's what are you doing to set yourself up for that activation?
Yeah.
We'll talk more about some supplements and stuff in a second, but like, you know, my routine, I also have my creatine after I work out, which yes, for muscle. And then if we go up from the 5 grams a day, we can get some of that cognitive support too. So thinking about the morning, then midday, our focus is adapt. So to adapt, we're focusing on this idea of lifestyle and stress response. So how are we doing that? So I have a whole host of things here for us to talk about. A major take breaks. Like that breathing exercise doesn't even have to be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It could be 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Frankly, if it was 30 seconds, it would still be helpful.
Just like 3 deep breaths.
3 deep breaths.
Yeah.
Fresh air.
Yes.
And one of the things that helped me a lot was not forcing the productivity. Like we talked about that emotional piece of what's going on. Like sometimes you're just in it. And there are times where, okay, there's a deadline. I need to focus on this thing. And there are other times where we don't need to square peg, round hole, or whatever that phrase is, like push to force the task.
Yeah. And it's so funny because today, this always happens when I come here. I have like examples of our episode. But today I had to submit a huge proposal for a potential client. And I did the whole thing and then I was converting it to PDF and it didn't convert right. Like the pages didn't line up properly. And I was like, I had spent 2 days working on this. And the information was still there. It wasn't the end of the world. And I sent it. I was like, I had some tech issues. My PDF conversion didn't work properly, but the information is still there. I'm a perfectionist. I want it to look perfect, present perfect. But I was like, you know what? They just need the information right now. And they were like, this looks great. And I'm like, so maybe that perfectionism in work, I didn't need to like belabor that all afternoon and like frustrate myself and then put off other things and just become obsessed with getting it right when it was something I truly couldn't help. It was, tech issues.
Yeah. So kind of along those lines, sometimes enough is fine. Right?
Yeah.
And part of that for me too is recognizing that it's okay to not respond to an email within 7 seconds of it showing up.
Yes, that's a very true statement.
So one of the things, and there's research to support this, but this idea of single tasking. In order to single task in our modern lives, it means our phone needs to go face down. If you have a watch, you might need to take the watch off for 20 minutes or whatever it is. What I started to do was set aside email time so that even if I saw them while I was laying in bed in the morning, I had the email time where I knew when I was going to respond to those.
Sure.
And that's even helpful. We talk about multitasking in our willpower episode, where multitasking really drains our willpower. When we think about it here, it's also a piece of that overstimulation. It's also a piece of that overwhelm, that constant input that has us feeling exhausted. So could we make an attempt to single task? And maybe even the place to start is single task when you're watching that TV show. Because if you're anything like me, you're watching that TV show and you're on your phone.
Yes, and having a snack.
Right.
My protein, I have to get it in with my protein snack. No, but I used to like train people in my business and I would talk to them about working in units for 20 minutes and then walking outside for 10 and then coming back. And, you know, one of the things that I think COVID taught me is that not that we don't know this, but we put way more pressure on ourselves than other people put on us for delivering deliverables. And everybody was so forgiving during COVID, but also kind of deadlines went away because the whole world lost all its deadlines, you know? And that piece that I felt then in terms of my work, I'm trying to get back because I still accomplished everything remotely. It still got there timely, but that pressure that was
So how are you doing that? Are you saying something to people? Are you managing expectations?
I usually set boundaries with my clients about like when I'm reachable and stuff, you know, because so they don't think I'm a robot, you know, 24/7. But I think there are certain things that have deadlines where they have to be completed by. But I will do things like send a text or an email to a client and say, hey, I'm working on this. I'll have this to you by tomorrow at 5. So I feel like I don't have to get in it at 9 a.m. because I said tomorrow. I give a more specific time so they know not to expect it first thing in the morning. You know, so I've given myself a little bit more leeway and deadlines that I knew I could probably reach by 9. But if I say by 5, if I get in at 12, then I'm still on time. So I think finding ways to give yourself leeway on what you have to accomplish versus like being so rigid and feeling like you can't keep up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's that piece too of like not forcing.
Yeah.
Which, so essentially, and we're going to come back to some more pieces of all of this. So the morning activation, the midday adaptation, and the evening restoration or restoring, again, comes back to that not pushing. So last night at 9:30, like, could you have sat there and done another thing? Probably.
Yeah.
Could we also say, I'm done for the day and that's enough and that's okay? 1,000%.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, and or, you know, we're up at night. We want to get something done. Does it need to happen right now? How can we prioritize that sleep in the evening? This might look like CBD gummies. This might look like magnesium. This might look like more of those adaptogenic herbs to help our brain shut off a little bit. You know, we can use some tools and we'll come back to those again in a second. We have tons of episodes about sleep and evening routines and, you know, Sleep on It is a great one to start with. And then we have one on circadian rhythm and some of those. So like we could choose a couple things to play with when it comes to our sleep. But in the evening, if what you feel like you need is a bath, take the bath.
Yeah.
Figure out, okay, maybe it's not this moment. Maybe it's in an hour. Maybe it's saying to somebody, hey, I need 20 minutes. You got this for 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And whatever it is so that we can prioritize that sleep, not push, not force, and expect ourselves to continue to be at this level that is maybe just not okay or not for us in that moment. It doesn't mean it won't come back. In fact, not doing it is part of how we get it back.
Yes. And I love the idea of the nighttime because I think when I was younger, and I don't know about you, I used to have more energy at night. And so I could do high energy tasks at night, clean the apartment, do laundry, whatever. Now I feel like that's a real lift later at night. And so I tell myself if I wake up with full energy in the morning, if I need to water the plants, I can listen to something while I do it on full energy. But at night, I need to slow down, relax, because otherwise I can't restore.
Yeah.
And so I don't bounce. My energy levels are different now than they were 20 years ago and how they function throughout the day, which I think when you were talking about like what time of day is it, what's my time of day earlier.
Yeah.
That's what I've been thinking a lot about is like my time of day used to be the night and it's not anymore, but it's also not early in the morning. So when is it?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So I have a bunch of other ideas of things that we can do. They may or may not happen every day. They may or may not be things that even fit for you at all, but it's food for thought in terms of tools we can use to power up our brain again, right? So clearing that brain fog is really that activate, adapt, restore. To power up that brain again, here are some things we can do. So change up your walk. So when it comes to our movement, again, it doesn't have to be the most sweaty, strenuous, ridiculous workout of your life. Walking isn't tremendously powerful. We know that. One of the things that we could do to change up our walk is even if we just change where we do it.
Yeah.
Focus on the next landmark. Could we speed walk for a hot second? Doing some of those intervals. Even the intervals, by the way, and sort of having that landmark and then moving that landmark, keeping our brain engaged is part of what makes that helpful and turn on the brain boosting power of the walk.
Yeah.
Exercise in general is going to do that, but some of these little things that seem silly can be really helpful.
Yeah.
And like I said, walk a different route, change things up, keep it a little bit interesting for yourself. That strength training is also tremendous. We know resistance training is imperative for our cognitive function, for our longevity. Do you have or could you keep like a couple of light weights in your desk, in the trunk of your car? Like mine are in my living room because that's where I work out. But even still, like, are you stuck somewhere? Like I'm thinking of all of the sports games, like, my sister with my nephew, like my mom too, like the weekends are filled with sitting at these games.
Yeah.
And I was just listening to a podcast where she was talking about the racket of kids' sports.
Oh my God.
But like it's making me think, like if you had a set of weights in the trunk of your car, even if they were just like wrist weights or hand weight or something, and like, make a little bit of use of time that feels otherwise preoccupied. And it's amazing what can happen when we add some of this stuff in. Yeah. The blood flow from squats is tremendous, especially for the brain. Like a lot of times when I do a speaking engagement, the first thing I do is have them stand up and sit down 3 times.
Right. Yeah.
That's essentially 3 squats, right?
That's right.
All of a sudden, they have so much more energy.
Yeah.
And they are alert. That blood flow.
I'm going to do squats right now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our movement. Another way to power up the brain again, do something new. So the language thing is spot on for that.
Yeah.
I went to puppy yoga.
Oh.
I'm not really a yoga person. I can do yoga. I sort of know yoga. It was really about the puppies.
It's always the puppies.
But I had never done puppy yoga before. It was new.
Oh.
So
cute.
Like, went with friends to the Miami Open. Have never been to the Miami Open before.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really what all the cognitive researchers would say of do something new, but I went to a new place, right? I'd never been to, I've been to Miami before, whatever. There were pieces of this that were a new venue.
Yeah.
But novelty is major when it comes to even warding off symptoms of dementia. Do you want to learn a new dance? Do you want to take a class in something? I was having this conversation with a client the other day. When he was a kid, he loved photography. And he keeps wanting to like organize all these photos. And I was like, let's go take some new photos.
Yeah.
So something new, novel is tremendous.
Well, and what I'm hearing you say through all of these options is do something where you're not on your phone. Because all of these, no, but it's true. I mean, like when I think of like the language thing, one of the things that I liked about the language, besides like different synapses connecting in your brain, is that I truly could not work with the language app and look at my phone at the same time. Like I couldn't use my brain in 2 ways at once because I had to really focus on learning this language. It's like, when you're driving, you're focused on driving. So like I need things that I can't have an excuse to like do it halfway and also be on my phone. So like that for me was really helpful. So I think activities and things where you can fully focus, or you're putting your phone in the locker at the gym and it's not with you, that to me is such a brain clearing and restore opportunity. So
yes,
I'm telling you that because I'm telling myself that as a reminder.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Of all of us. Yeah.
For sure. And along those lines, the brain clearing, the powering up of the brain again, I mentioned fresh air during the day.
Yeah.
Anything outside.
Yeah.
Maybe it's even an evening walk for 10 minutes after dinner. Anything you can do outside, fresh air, breathing in nature is tremendous.
It's like clearing the cache in your browser.
Right.
So it
exactly.
works better.
Oh, the browser. It's like my brain is too many tabs
too
open.
Many tabs.
Yeah.
Too many tabs.
So going outside can help us close a couple tabs.
Great.
Right. And then you were talking about this idea of like not being in our phone.
Yeah.
Maybe it means that we need to reset the algorithm for ourselves on some of these apps. But then it takes us to this piece too of connection and community and talking to people. And it doesn't even require formal plans. Like, in fact, actually, planning a trip is really great to turn your mind back on.
Yes.
And, you know, you could do that with other people and whatever. But the other thing is even talking to strangers helps us. Say hi to the neighbor. Say hi to the person walking their dog that you don't know. Say hi to the barista. You know, the little things. And we talked about some of these even again in our willpower episode. But it's some of these simple ways that really sharpen the synapses of the brain. So it is biochemical to power up our brain again to do some of these things, to be in community, to interact.
Yeah. It's why I go to my office.
Yes.
Because I could work from home. I would feel like I'm in constant COVID. But for me, getting to my office means that I'm around people and can have interactions.
Yes.
And I need that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of lifestyle things in terms of actions we can take.
Yes.
Let's talk about some food things, because what would it be if I didn't talk about food? Right. So I mentioned our member recipe had the kale.
Yeah.
That gives us dark leafy greens, right? Dark leafy greens are connected to a slower rate of age-related cognitive decline.
Oh. I'm very proud of my kale intake then.
There you go.
Always
all right. Berries. In particular, blueberries, they're antioxidants, support memory and cognition. Right. So that salad had the blueberries and the kale. Beans also, the folate, B vitamin, magnesium, zinc, all of these are connected to cognitive function, brain health. So little things that we can do that just sort of give us that extra oomph in the background. Again, especially as we talked about starting the day activating and during the day adapting. I'm like, what's the word?
Yeah.
See, more of that.
Activate.
It's apparently I need more of these things, right? But so super helpful.
Yeah.
At the same time, we already know these things, but we really want to limit the packaged processed foods. Yeah. The ultra processed foods in particular are going to decrease our cognitive function. They are linked to dementia. They are linked to diabetes. They are linked to cardiovascular disease. So the more we can support ourselves, this was another big thing. Something I did in April that I didn't really do in January through March was I had groceries in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know if you're a longtime listener, you're like, you had groceries? I know. But it's the little things, right? Yeah. Like I was able to have a snack of some berries and nut butter. I could make myself the salad instead of ordering it. Little things that I'm pretty adept at, ordering and still choosing some quality foods. But it also just helps to not have some of those other things that get added.
Yeah.
And then, of course, soda, sweetened coffee drinks, even that caffeine, being really mindful of when in the day we're having that caffeine, if we are. So especially if you're feeling that wired but tired, I'm going to challenge you to use these other tools for that energy in the morning instead of that caffeine for a bit and see what happens. When I was I looked at myself, I was like, I'm not a caffeine everyday person. What is happening?
Yeah.
And I was just able to okay, this is not me. I'm done with that. Made a tremendous difference for everything.
It really, I know it feels scary to people too because of habit. And some of it feels good to have a habit, like a morning coffee. But I had to go off of caffeinated coffee because I was having a bad physical reaction to it. And once I did that, my body very easily adapted to not needing it in the morning. It had just become such a habit. And because health-wise I had to take it out, I went through the process of releasing it. And I don't drink anything with caffeine to wake me up. It's, I can have a decaf coffee beverage for funsies, but the caffeine I can tolerate is usually for pleasure.
Yeah, agreed. So when it comes to some of this added support right throughout the day. I mentioned it already. In the morning and midday, we can do the B complex, right? That's going to give us energy and mood. The adaptogenic herbs, midday. Even some herbs like ginkgo and some of these other things that are really connected to like our cognitive function, those can be super helpful in the morning. And then midday, you might also want some stress support. There's different combinations of adaptogenic herbs that could be helpful. And then in the evening, we're doing that magnesium. Maybe, like I said, some ashwagandha, another adaptogenic herb, CBD gummies, some of these other choices that can be super helpful. So again, I have options in there, for our members. I'll put a link to all the products that I took. Well, I didn't take all of them, but this list of them that are available that support these pieces in the episode notes, and then our members get 10% off. And then we also want to think about that gut-brain connection. So focusing on that digestion. So I took these probiotics that were connected to mood support. I took my postbiotics. I really focused on making sure that I was getting that fiber as my prebiotic. So really supporting all throughout the digestive system and those antioxidants for the cognitive support and all of these pieces so that we're just giving ourselves what we need to get everything back online again and functioning like ourselves. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the regimen ad infinitum, till the end of time. But some of these pieces, I also brought back in my hepatocleanse, which is the liver support to help detox, especially knowing that I wasn't sleeping as well in certain times, right? Like some of these little things that can really just help, like the antioxidants and the blood flow and all of these pieces. It gave me the things I needed to get over the hump.
Yeah. And I think we could just move forward with some ideas of things we could try without actually having some real things like that support us. We're fooling ourselves. like that's like, it's like willful ignorance, And I think we can't we're not 8 years old. Like our bodies need support as we age and try to navigate through busy life and schedules. And I think
and the other thing is the reason why I'm putting the link in the episode notes is because not all formulas or supplements are the same.
Right.
And so I can say magnesium to you.
Right. But which magnesium?
Exactly. Yeah. And yet to make sure that you're getting the kind and the dose and the quality and all of those pieces. So it's there for you. I feel like we've talked through it.
Yeah.
I think final thought to wrap this up.
I mean, I think to wrap this up, the main thing is this whole feeling is about like losing your focus on yourself to me. So I feel like bring the focus back. It's a little bit put the oxygen on yourself first kind of stuff, because when you're not focusing on it and you have those good days, you're like, I wish I could feel like this every day. But like, imagine if you put a little extra work into yourself and you did feel like that every day, wouldn't that be great? So I think, draw the focus in and the outer stuff will turn out better.
Absolutely. I come back to, I keep coming back to this, right? The activation in the morning, the adaptation during the day, and the recovery in the evening. And it's the clearing the brain fog, turning our brain back on, gives us the mental energy to be resilient, to be emotionally resilient, physically resilient, and all of those pieces. Like it comes together. And that's why the approach to it also requires all of the pieces. Mm-hmm. All right. You ready to hear about this week's nutrition nugget?
Please.
All right. So on Friday in this week's bite-sized bonus episode, we're talking about art galleries.
Okay.
So I saw a study that said going to art galleries may improve our well-being. And I have to admit, I saw this as a headline and I made a note because I am the first to say that I don't get art. Oh. Right? So this headline totally caught my eye. So we're going to look at the study and discuss it on Friday in this week's bite-sized bonus episode. So be sure wherever you're listening, click the plus sign or the follow button, and then your app will alert you when this nutrition nugget goes live on Friday morning. Well, as always, everybody, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jenn Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideofries.com. Pick your platform, send a message. I love hearing from you, your takeaways, your ideas, your questions. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your coach. Beth, thank you again for being here this week.
Thank you for having me. Always great to be here.
Always. I love it. And of course, friends, if you are not already, I invite you to the Happy Healthy Hub. You'll go to asaladwithasideofries.com/membership. This shows your support for this podcast, this community, and above all, it supports your health. On top of access to the community board where we can interact, ask and answer questions, and so much more, you get discounts, curated content, and of course, this week's recipe for kale and avocado salad with blueberries and edamame, plus 10% off the supplements that we talked about this week that helped me clear that brain fog and turn my brain back on in the last couple months. So until next week, remember, brain fog, feeling like you've lost your sense of get it done, is not permanent. It is a sign of overwhelm and burnout. And now you know what to do so you can support your brain and power it up again. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.